Welcome everyone to the latest updates on our news channel. We hope the information we provide gives you a broader perspective on what's happening around us. Please support us with a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much. Donald Trump has all the right enemies. On the one hand, Donald Trump, the former and perhaps future President of the United States, seems uniquely hapless. He lost an election unlike any other before, one in which insecure mail-in balloting proliferated. Many states made constitutionally dubious changes to their voting procedures, and big tech put a decisive and perhaps outcome-altering thumb on the scale. Even worse, Trump last year became the first former president to be criminally indicted, 4 separate times. Tough luck, for sure. But on the other hand, there is one thing that should provide no small amount of solace to Trump and his many supporters. As we are seeing unfold across the country in real time, Trump is truly blessed with the best enemies. For all of Trump's bad luck, he is also aided right now by some very, very good luck. Consider some of the current biggest enemies of Trump, as he marches through the Republican presidential primary and looks toward a general election rematch with President Joe Biden. First, there is Biden himself. The nominal president of the United States is an indescribable embarrassment to the nation, physically corpse-like, palpably senile, chronically misinformed, utterly lacking in judgment and generally clueless as to where he is and what words emanate from his mouth. He is a disgrace to his office, and it is a shocking public disservice that his wife and handlers even permit him to seek re-election in such a debilitated state. Special counsel Robert Hur's report filed last week, in which he explained that one reason he is not recommending criminal charges against Biden is because he is mentally unfit to stand trial, is an astonishing open admission of the harrowing reality Democratic Party elites have frantically tried to hide. Second, there is former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, Trump's final competitor in the Republican presidential primary. Haley is the very embodiment of all that was wrong with the pre-Trump GOP. She is a laissez-faire fundamentalist out of touch with Republican voters' concerns and priorities, a strident neoconservative personally corrupted by the military-industrial complex, viz., Boeing, an enthusiast for mass immigration who is guided not by voters' clearly expressed desire to close the border but by corporations' desire to keep it open, and a coward when it comes to the righteous prosecution of the culture. War against the forces of civilizational arson. Haley's caricaturable nature makes her a perfect foil for Trump. Third, there is Alvin Bragg, the Soros-funded lawyer in New York City now prosecuting Trump on the laughable grounds that hush money payments ex-Trump fixer Michael Cohen made to star Stormy Daniels on the eve of the 2016 presidential election amounted to falsified business records in furtherance of, well, something. Bragg's indictment never actually stipulates what the records were falsified in furtherance of, and Bragg needs an additional crime in order to 1. Overcome the falsified recording crime's 3-year statute of limitations and to 2. Enhance to a felony what would otherwise be a mere misdemeanor. Bragg's is a remarkably frivolous case, and the fact that this is how he expends prosecutorial resources in a metropolis now in the throes of a generational crime epidemic makes him another ideal foe for Trump. Finally, there is Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis, whose courtroom meltdown this week, and the likelihood that she lied in court about the timing of her extramarital affair with her own appointed special prosecutor, has crystallized what already seemed likely: the Georgia prosecution, which once seemed the most dangerous of Trump's 4 criminal cases, is imploding. Willis came across as highly unprofessional during Thursday's hearing on her possible disqualification from the case. She snapped at Trump's attorneys, and she was warned numerous times by the presiding judge. At this point, Trump's Georgia case is not reaching a verdict before the election. The only questions are whether a trial commences at all, and whether Willis ends up being the one to go to jail instead of Trump or his co-defendants. It is often said that it is better to be lucky than good. Donald Trump could still be derailed by special counsel Jack Smith's federal probe in Washington, D.C., and he is about to get smacked by an unjust verdict in New York Attorney General Letitia James' civil fraud case. But everywhere else Trump looks, Lady Luck seems to be shining. Putin on West's reaction to Carlson interview: good that they listen to what I have to say. Russian President Vladimir Putin said that it is good that the interview with U.S. journalist Tucker Carlson made the West listen to what Russia has to say. First of all, it is good that they watch and listen to what I say, Putin told Rossiya One reporter Pavel Zarubin, commenting on the negative assessment of his interview. It is not possible to have a direct dialogue with the West today, and Moscow is grateful to Carlson for the mediation, Putin said. If today, for some reason related to them, the West, we are unable to conduct a direct dialogue, then we should be grateful to Mr. Carlson for the fact that we can do this through him as an intermediary. The only thing to regret is that the Russia did not start active actions in Ukraine earlier, the president clarified. Putin recalled the Minsk agreements and the recognition of the then German Chancellor and French President that they did not intend to fulfill the agreements, but simply bought time. The only thing we can regret is that we did not start our active actions in Ukraine earlier, believing that we were dealing with decent people, the president highlighted. NATO is a tool of U.S. foreign policy. If Washington believes that it does not need it, this is its decision, Putin said. I think that NATO is no longer necessary at all. There is no point. It only has one meaning: it is an instrument of U.S. foreign policy. But if the United States believes that it does not need this tool, this is its decision, Putin said. Former President Donald Trump has his own view on how the United States should approach its relations with its allies, Putin clarified. On Tuesday, former Hunter Biden business partner, Tony Bobulinski, testified before the House Oversight Committee behind closed doors in the House impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. According to the transcript released on Friday, Democrat lawmakers threatened Tony Bobulinski as he confirmed under oath that Joe Biden is indeed the big guy. Recall that Tony Bobulinski, a retired lieutenant in the U.S. Navy, was the CEO of Sinohawk Holdings, which was a partnership between the Chinese operating through CEFC/Chairman Yi and the Biden family. Bobulinski has repeatedly stated that he met with Joe Biden numerous times to discuss Hunter Biden's foreign business deals. There are hundreds of data points that Joe Biden was acting in a capitalistic term, I would say the chairman, Bobulinski told Tucker Carlson in an interview last year. Bobulinski also accused Hunter Biden of committing fraud against his business partners by secretly funneling over $5 million into his own investment firm. On October 22, 2020, Bobulinski held a press conference where he confirmed Joe Biden lied about his involvement with Hunter Biden's foreign business deals. He also revealed Joe Biden, aka the big guy, would get a 10% cut of his deals through Sinohawk. In numerous communications with Hunter, Walker, Gilliar, and Jim Biden regarding the allocation of the equity ownership of Sinohawk, on May 13, 2017, I received an email concerning allocation of equity which says, 10% held by H for the big guy. In that email there's no question that H stands for Hunter, big guy for his father, Joe Biden, Bobulinski said. Bobulinski continued, in fact, Hunter often referred to his father as the big guy, or my chairman. Tony Bobulinski said it was made clear to him not to mention Joe Biden's involvement in writing. Tony Bobulinski told Congress, the only reason any of these international business transactions took place, with tens of millions of dollars flowing directly to the Biden family, was because Joe Biden was in high office. The Biden family business was Joe Biden, period. The Oversight Committee on Friday released the transcript of Bobulinski's testimony. Here are the key takeaways from Bobulinski's testimony per Oversight Committee Republicans. Joe Biden was the brand being sold by the Biden family. Joe Biden not only knew about his family's business dealings, but he enabled them and participated in them, despite being buffered by a scheme to maintain plausible deniability. Tony Bobulinski tried to get other Biden family associates to tell the truth about Joe Biden's involvement in his family's business schemes. However, one replied, "You're just going to bury all of us, man."
Joe Biden is the big guy.
Joe Biden has repeatedly lied to the American people about his knowledge of and participation in his family's business dealings. During the transcribed interview, Democrats put on a shameful display as they yelled at Mr. Bobulinski, cut him off, belittled him, and threatened him. Democrat Representative Dan Goldman warned Bobulinski, "You want to be a little careful, sir." Bobulinski replied, "Careful of what?" Democrat Representatives Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin belittled Bobulinski. Raskin and another attorney also yelled at Bobulinski. Goldman referred to Bobulinski as "this guy." Ruling expected in Donald Trump's $370 million New York fraud trial. Judge delayed ruling to set fine in trial over Trump's New York business dealings after late-breaking information came to light. A judge is expected to rule on whether Donald Trump should pay a $370 million fine in his New York fraud trial and face a lifetime ban from the New York real estate industry. The New York Attorney General's office sued Trump for inflating the value of his assets on government financial statements. Trump's adult sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, and two former Trump Organization executives, Alan Weisselberg and Jeff McConney, are also defendants in the case. The New York AG's office initially asked for $250 million in disgorgement, or the amount of money that was wrongfully profited after Trump fudged his net worth. In their written closing arguments in January, prosecutors ended up bumping up their disgorgement figure to $370 million. Prosecutors are also asking the judge, Arthur Engoron, to ban Trump from the New York real estate industry. It's a similar punishment to that which a New York federal court meted out to pharma bro Martin Shkreli after he was found guilty of price gouging a life-saving drug. Prosecutors in the Trump case cited the Shkreli ruling as an example of what they see as a fitting punishment for Trump. The fine and a ban would be on top of the punishment Engoron instructed in his September pretrial ruling, when he ordered the cancellation of Trump's business licenses. Trump, who has denied any wrongdoing, has appealed that ruling and will undoubtedly appeal a second guilty verdict. A spokesperson for the New York Supreme Court said that Engoron is expected to release his ruling on Friday. Engoron had initially said he anticipated ruling by the end of January, but two developments seemed to throw him off schedule. The first was a letter from a former judge, Barbara Jones, who is currently acting as the court-appointed monitor overseeing the Trump Organization's financial reporting. In a letter submitted to the court at the end of January, Jones said the Trump Organization submitted financial disclosures that are either incomplete, present results inconsistently, and/or contain errors. Jones specifically pointed to a $48 million personal loan Trump received from an entity affiliated with his Chicago building in 2012. Though Trump had reported the loan as a liability on his financial statements for years, Jones could not find any record of it, and the company ultimately determined that this loan never existed. A second development in early February also delayed the ruling. Weisselberg, a longtime Trump executive who served as chief financial officer of the company, was said to be in talks with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for a plea deal over a separate trial. The New York Times reported that Weisselberg was considering a deal to plead guilty in Trump's fraud trial in order to not be called as a witness in Trump's separate hush money trial, which is scheduled to take place on March 25. Though Engoron eventually emailed lawyers in the trial to disclose what they knew about the deal, both sides urged Engoron to push forward with his verdict. In an all-caps post on Truth Social posted on Wednesday, Trump said, Engeron wrongfully ruled against me before the trial even started. This crooked judgment will be a dark and sad day for the justice system in New York State.